We're going to take a look at the Trimble LM80 Layout Manager software as installed on the Trimble Nomad controller. So the first thing we'll do is we'll launch the application by selecting from the Start menu the Trimble LM80 software. And as soon as this opens, we'll be met by a graphical interface, which is where we're going to manage the jobs that we're going to be working on. So what we'll do is we'll create a new job, we'll call it today's date and just save that wherever we like. So we're going to enter some manual points now. And the way we do this is we just select the start point, just off the screen, key in a horizontal distance that we want to travel from that point, and select the direction in which we wish to travel. We can enter the points and repeat. Simply turn 90 degrees and we'll enter another point here. We can now work with offsets from the points we've just created, and to do this all we have to do is choose the points we wish to offset. Just select off the screen. Again, choose the horizontal distance and then which direction we want to go. In this instance we're going to add the line work at the same time, so that's the offsets. And now we just connect the bottom points by choosing the start and end point. Now we're going to look at subdividing one of the lines that we've just created. To do this, all we have to do is select the line we want to subdivide and tell it how many portions we want to divide it into. There we go. Now looking at inputting an arc, to do this very simple, all we have to do is choose a start point there, the end point there, and key in the radius of the arc we want to describe. We'll get a preview. Now if we don't like that, we can simply flip it by pressing that button there, and we can enter subdivisions along that arc. It'll automatically calculate the points for the intersections, and we can also include a radius point. We'll take a quick look at some of the computation tools that we've got on here as well. Very simply, we can measure some distances. We just key the start and end points, and we get a return at the bottom of the screen there. The next one we can do is look at areas. As we just select around the points here, we'll get a running total for the total area and the external parameters, and we can solve irregular shapes. The next very simple tool we've got here is measuring angles. Again, we just choose the points we're interested in measuring, and it reports the angle to us at the bottom of the screen. If we wanted to create some offset points, very simple process. We just again choose the points from the map that we wish to offset. Here we go. And then we just tell it the distance we want to offset and again which side. It automatically works out the coordinates for that offset that we've just keyed in there. We'll get a preview. We can give them a description. In this case we'll call it offset. Hit the preview button. We'll see where they're going to go, and we just select solve. That's the offsets created. Point patterns, incredibly useful if you want to work with templates or bolt sets, that kind of thing. All we have to do is define a point pattern. So here what we're going to do is give an X and Y offset, a delta easting, delta northing offset from a center point, which would be the center of our template. Key in the points, very simply there, hit the enter buttons, and that creates us a simple template there, 4 points. We save that point pattern, give it a name that we could easily recognize. Back into our master plan, and now we just select the points where we want to apply the point pattern. So if these were bolt sets, this could be column locations. Very simply, just point and click off the screen, nice graphical interface. Choose all the points we're interested, load the pattern we've just created, just find it from the list wherever we've decided to save it. Gives us a preview, and when we select finish, we'll see that it's automatically added these point patterns on here. So very quickly, simply, if it were bolt sets, it's perfect. What we can do is work with the layering as well to make our points easier to manage. I'll just create a new layer here for the bolts that we've just created. Just key it in here. Now what I can do is I can transfer the point patterns we've just added onto our new layer, and that gives us quite useful features in terms of managing the data visually, and we can manipulate that a bit more easily now. Very simply, this time selecting from the list rather than from the screen. It's another way we can select our points. The automatic numbering makes them very easy to identify in this case. So that's me selected all of the points. Now I'm going to transfer them to the new layer called bolts. Now if we wanted to edit a point that we'd keyed in, very simply select edit points from our menu here. Select from the map or from a list. Choose which point we want to edit. Select off the screen in this case, and it'll take us to the properties of the point we've selected. So we can see the easting, northing, any elevation in the layer. We can key in a new easting for this, preview that and it will give us an indication where that's going to end up now. As soon as we store that, it's going to recalculate any points that are relative to that point also. So we'll see it's redescribed the arc and the offset, so it's done 3 steps in one. Now going back to the point patterns, if we were working with rotation, we can see if we've got the arc here. If we wanted to put a point pattern on the arc, and we did that without rotation, I'll just show you what result we would get here. So if I key in and enter the same point pattern that we previously created on one of these points on the arc without rotation, we'll see that the bolt sets won't align with the column. If I just zoom in here, we'll see that. It's very easy to deal with this situation. I'll just undo that, and what I'm going to do is switch off my previous bolts just to make the drawing a little bit cleaner so we can see what we're doing. And this time I'm going to measure the angle between the points on the arc that we've created. Using the onboard tools here, I'll just select my first point from the list, the second point here, and then the point I'm interested in applying a pattern to. We see we've got the angle reported at the bottom of the screen. Now what I do is reapply the reported angle that we've just measured there onto the point pattern when we're inserting it. So again, insert the same point pattern, but this time I'm going to key in that angle that was reported back to us. We'll get a preview there, and if I switch the other bolts back on, we'll just see the comparison of how the rotation has been applied, and we can see very simply that's rotated them bolts around that arc, and you could continue that for the rest of the points on the arc. So that is the Trimble LM80 software on the Trimble Nomad controller, brought to you by Survey Solutions Scotland.